Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today and welcome to this educational presentation where today I'm going to show you how to capture big weekly gains. Now, I know most of the time we focus just on looking at daily bars or looking at even intraday bars for trading all the markets. But from time to time, we get requests to talk about more of a swing trading or more of a longer term way of trading. I'm going to share with you the best technique I know to capture those big weekly gains. In fact, this is something I use personally when I'm looking for longer term investments. For example, let's look at this chart right here. As we look at, there we are, NVDA, okay, NVIDIA Corporation. Now, we're only looking at 3 bars. Now, each one of these bars here equals a week. Now, I'm going to share with you how you could have bought right there based on that 3rd bar. Now, most traders would say, well, what's it based on? How would I know to buy that? After all, it's been going up for 3 weeks. And how do I know I'm going to get a nice big gain out of that? Well, remember, nothing is written in stone and nothing is guaranteed that it's going to work out perfectly. But there was a high probability using this indicator that would have told you that the movement had actually only just begun. And there were a large probability that you're going to be able to capture some large gains. And as we see later on, we see the stock went up 110 points. You actually could have captured 110 points. So this is what we're going to be talking about today, how to capture those big weekly gains. Now, the best news about this presentation is that it's not going to be difficult to capture these big weekly gains if you're using our platform, the PTS Primo charting platform. This is the platform I developed and designed with Pro Trader Strategies that actually identifies these big weekly gains in advance. So welcome once again. My name is Steven Primo. I am the president and founder of Specialist Trading. I've been trading now for a total of 46 years, if you can believe it. 46 years. I started my career on the floor of the Pacific Stock Exchange. I was on the Pacific Stock Exchange for a total of 16 years, and 9 of those years I was a specialist. A specialist is just simply someone that made markets in roughly about 50 or 60 stocks. So if you ever wanted to buy or sell a particular equity, you had to the floor broker would walk up to the trader who specialized in making a market. So we were basically just traders that were trading in anywhere from 30 seconds to maybe 5 minutes at the longest. So my background is just as a really short-term trader. But once I left the floor, started teaching, started managing money, I had to develop more of a technique or a method for those long-term investments, because after all, you can't just day trade all the time. If you're looking for larger gains, you want to be able to hold on to something for a longer period of time. And that's the technique I'm going to be sharing with you today. This is something I personally use, and it really, really works very well. Now, before we begin, as always, we are required to share this with you, so please take a moment to view our disclaimer. I'm going to show you a lot of performance results using this method, but please remember that we can in no way guarantee that any of the results I'm about to share with you will be repeated in the future. Also, please remember, since we are first and foremost an educational company, all examples are strictly for educational purposes only. Now, since we are an educational company, we like to give you education on a daily basis. And the way to get that is by following us on Twitter. So there's our handle right there. I would suggest copying that down, because every day I post anywhere from 3 to 5 different snapshots that our signals or techniques have generated, and go into a little bit of background as to why they were generated. I also give you bits of financial wisdom to help you along the way of your trading career. So there's lots of great free educational information on a daily basis. So please feel free to follow us on Twitter. Now, as I stated in the opening statements, we are first and foremost an educational company. This means that our only goal is simply to educate you. Now, someone would say, well, why? Why not just tell us what you think the market's going to do, or give us a signal for tonight or tomorrow? Tell us what the best stock is to buy or sell. Tell us what the best time frame is to trade. Now, think of that. That's the basis for the entire industry. Since I've actually been trading, that's the way you were taught to learn. You would go to some signal service or follow some guy on a blog, or listen to the people on TV, or follow the earnings or estimates of jobless claims, and that's how you determine what to do, right? But if you think of it, the common denominator is you're taking yourself out of the game and you're allowing someone or something else to tell you what to buy or what to sell. Now, once again, I was taught this same way when I first started trading 46 years ago. And I make no, qualms about it. I always tell people that my first year or two, I struggled tremendously. And the obvious reason is because that doesn't work. It really doesn't work. In fact, 80 to 85% of all traders fail. I would say, venture to say, 90 to 100% of all traders follow this method or this background basically by following someone and just following whatever they say to buy or sell. Now remember, what we do is we teach you so that ultimately you can make your own trading decisions. When we ask you to follow us on Twitter, when we ask you to become a student of ours, we're not telling you what to buy or what to sell. We're not telling you when to buy or when to sell or what the perfect market is. We're basically sharing with you these high probability techniques that have stood the test of time so that ultimately you can make your own trading decisions. So as you see here, my goal is not to force feed you signals. It's not to tell you what I think the market's going to do the way some other websites do or some other webinars. My goal is simply to teach you how to trade with a specialist edge with the ultimate goal of you making your own trading decisions. In my 46 years of trading, the only traders I know that are still around, and I started out with hundreds of them on the floor, but the only ones that are still around are the ones that make their own trading decisions. Sure, every once in a while, someone had a big home run where they made hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in a relatively short time. But they gave it eventually all back because they were basically listening or following someone or something else that wasn't really based in consistency. So you have to stay in the game. You cannot take yourself out of the process and let someone make the decisions for you. So our goal as a mentor is simply to teach you so that you can ultimately make your own trading decisions. And you'll see that in today's educational presentation. Now, before we begin, just a couple of announcements. I have a lot of slides to share with you, and I want you to ask me as many questions as possible, but please wait till the end of class. It won't be very long, I promise. If you wait till the end, I will get to each and every one of your questions. Also, this is being recorded, so if you have to leave early or if you have any technical issues, you can't see or hear the screen clearly, don't worry. Each and every one of you will be sent a link to this recording, okay? So once again, if you have any questions, please wait till the end. I promise I'll get to each and every one of them. All right, with that stated, let's begin today's educational presentation. I'd like to start out by something that my mentors shared with me, and that's today's theme. And it's this: if you want to catch really big gains, then you have to trade higher time frames. Remember, my background started on the floor where I was in and out of trades in maybe 30 seconds or even a minute. I was not even day trading. It was intraday trading. It was micro trading. I was in and out. And that's pretty much my background. And I still do that. The majority of the trading I do is all intraday trading. But you know, these will rack up small little gains, and that's very consistent, and that's nice. They will help you. But really, if you want to catch those really big gains, those really big trendy moves, you have to trade a higher time frame. Here's the trouble. A lot of people, myself included, that were rooted and based in intraday trading have difficulty transferring that over onto the larger time frames. A lot of times it doesn't work the same way, or a lot of times you're just not feeling that comfortable with the technique because you're having to wait for weeks, if not months, to see the fruition of the trade, or you're trained to see whether it's going to work in the next 10 or 20 seconds or not, okay? So we developed Pro Trader Strategies myself, a fantastic way to catch these large, really big gains, and by just simply going up to a different time frame and using this technique. So this is what we're going to be talking about today. The tool that does this is the PTS-XT. It's a tool I've developed with Pro Trader Strategies that is really, really powerful, but extremely simple to apply. For example, this indicator is designed to identify extreme trends in advance. In other words, that's the only purpose of this tool. We want to identify these really extreme market moves, either to the upside or to the downside. Now, today we're just going to mainly focus on trading to the upside. But if you're a more advanced or aggressive trader, you can also take advantage of this by shorting stock as well, or buying puts. Now, a little bit behind the development of this, it's based on multiple proprietary indicators and their relationship to one another. So how they interact off one another will generate these setups. Let me share with you what I mean here. Let's look at this older chart in FCX, Freeport McMillan. All right, obviously in hindsight, this is a weekly chart. All of these bars are weekly bars. And obviously in hindsight, someone would say, well, sure, you know, yeah, it's been going straight up. And these are the things I always seem to miss for the long, big gains and these tremendous trends. I don't find out about them until later, and then it's too late to get in, right? Because I've already missed most of the big move. So what you want to do when you're capturing these large weekly gains is to buy somewhere down before it takes off. That's the beauty behind the PTS-XT. Its only job is to identify markets that are set to have these extreme trends and to tell you in advance. Here's how it does it. It simply paints a block around the bars that are what it deems as an extreme uptrend. Now, in this case, it's a yellow block. So a yellow block equals extreme uptrend. Now, this is not repainted and reformatted. Once a bar has a yellow block around it, it stays that way, okay? Now, as you can see here, it started right here at this point and continued in that red block all the way. So it's as simple as just holding on as long as you'd like. That's one of the simplest ways to apply this, our students have told us. And what you want to do is be able to know in advance of the big up move. Now, as we said, this not only works to the upside, it works to the downside. Here's an older chart of Airbnb. As we can see, in hindsight, it's been going straight down, right? How would we have known in advance, though? We apply the PTS-XT. And a red block equals an extreme downtrend. Remember, this indicator, this tool does not repaint itself. It does not reformat and say, okay, I'm going to go back, and now this wasn't actually in the extreme uptrend. Once a bar is in the red block, as we see here, it will continue to be in that red block as long as the indicator is telling you the extreme trend is down, okay? And once it doesn't, then the price will go out of this block, but this block will stay here, so you'll be able to know. So you see how simple this process is, and for that reason, it's official. The PTS-XT is our most popular trading tool, not only because it's so powerful, but because of its simplicity. There are a number of ways to use it. Now, you can use it intraday, you can use it for daily charts, you can use it for weekly, longer term. There's a number of ways to trade with it. I'm going to share with you today what I feel is the simplest way to use it to applying for those large weekly gains. That's what we're looking for, okay, for a longer way of trading. All right, so the way to do that is by applying a simple 3-step weekly trade process. And this is what I'm going to be teaching you today and show you how easy it is. You can do this every Friday on or at the close. So let's go through the process here. All right, remember, you can only apply this on our platform. You can't be doing this on another platform. You have to be able to apply it on our platform because our platform was designed and developed to teach traders how to trade so that ultimately, once again, you make your own trading decision. What we're doing here is simply providing you with all these options and variables, but ultimately, we're not going to tell you to buy or sell this. That's up to you. We give you in the course, we give different variables in which to enter, 5 or 6 different ways to enter. We give you 5 or 6 different ways to exit. We give you 5 or 6 different ways to place your stop and multiple money management ways to track the trade. And it's up to you to pick and choose what makes you feel the most comfortable. So we can have students with the exact same setup, but having different results because they're in charge of deciding where they wanted to buy, where they wanted to sell, where they wanted to exit, okay? That's only, in my opinion, the only way you can become a consistent trader, by making your own decisions. The beauty is we developed all these techniques, including our platform, to help you make your own decisions. Okay, step 1. On or after the close of the last trading day of the week, meaning Friday, okay, saying there's no holiday or 3-day weekend. Say it's Friday, okay? On or at the close, meaning that 5 minutes before the close, if you like to get in before the weekend, or at the close, so you can get ready for Monday's trading. Conduct a weekly PTS-XT scan. Now, one of the things I've made no secret about is that I have a pet peeve with most platform scans. And I'm not going to mention any names, but most of them I believe are subpar. They're so difficult to apply. They're very cumbersome, and many times they don't give you the options, of which I'm sure you've all been there. They maybe provide too many variables or not enough components to use in a scan. I'm going to show you, we developed this to make it simple, how easy it is to scan for these setups. All right, so here is the interface of our platform. When you open it up, you'll see this blank page like this, and you see all the different icons of studies, and also right here, this is called our green strategy tab with all of our different techniques and methods. What you want to do is find the PTS Extreme Trend tab right here, okay? And then simply click that on, and you'll see a drop-down menu. What we want to do is go to the bottom where it says Scan, click on Scan, and hit Enter. And then you'll see the PTS-XT Extreme Trend Scan page come up, okay? Right here. Now we want to move over to the far left. this area right here. I know it looks a little confusing, but it's really simple. So since we're looking for those weekly components, you come to here to where the intervals are, where it says daily, click that on, and you'll see a drop-down menu right here with this little down arrow is, and just click it on and click on weekly. Now you can click on an hourly scan, you can click on a 5-minute scan, you can click on a monthly scan, just click it on so that it says weekly, okay? So that's the time frame we're scanning for weekly bars. Now, what are we going to scan for? Are we going to scan for commodities, for forex markets, for the S&P 500? Well, we come down now to load symbols. That's this right here, this category. And all we do is click that on once again in this little downward arrow, click on, and we can choose whichever market we want. There's a list there. Let's just choose, to make things simple, the NASDAQ, okay? So we choose the NASDAQ 100. Let me just, as we're loading up here, we're going to choose something simple. That's the indice, the NASDAQ 100 stocks. So that's what's going to help us look, and we're going to scan for that. Now, my computer is really slow. We're having a little trouble with my internet connection, so it's kind of loading. Let's just wait for that. But while we're waiting, remember, we provide you with many different symbol lists. Okay, now we've come up here. There's the symbol list. So now we just hit scan. And even though my computer was slow, this whole process probably takes less than a minute. Right now, it's taking me maybe a minute to explain it to you. Once you get the hang of it, it'll probably take you 30 seconds. And so once you click on the scan, here's what you'll see. On the far right-hand corner, we'll only be concerned with these colors in the far right-hand corner. When you see a green block, this is telling you that it's in an extreme uptrend, okay? And if you saw a series of red blocks, that would mean you're in an extreme downtrend. But we're only going to focus on buying those weekly bars, all right? Now, the column you see to the right tells you the bar count. So this is telling you how long you have been in an extreme up block, okay? Maybe 9 bars, maybe 7 bars, or 5, 3, 2, 1, or, okay? So obviously, if you've been in there for a while, the odds are it's going to run out of steam, okay? You don't want to get in too late. You'd rather get in at the beginning. So this brings us to this step number 2. We're only going to select stocks to trade that have a bar count of 1. Why? Because that means the first bar has been colored yellow. And if this is going to take off into a real extreme uptrend, that's where you want to get in, right? Because most likely that'll be the bottom. So going back to the scanning page, we're going to look down, we can sort these, and we'll look at all these right here. These have a bar count of 1. That means they've only been in an extreme trend for 1 bar count. Now, obviously, the bars we're looking at are weekly bars. You could do this for 5-minute time frames. You could do it for monthly time frames or daily. But we're looking at weekly bars now, okay? So you see all of these 4 right here, and then you just look at the corresponding stocks, where they are. And then you can decide which ones you want to take. Remember, this brings us to step number 3, which is the most important of this process, and that's simply trade. And what that means is you're in charge. You can take all 4 of those positions, you can take 1, or you can say, I'm not going to because it's my decision. This is not a system. This is not a signal service where I pay for somebody to tell me what to do. I'm in charge. All we have done is provide you with these high opportunity setups. It's up to you to decide. Remember, a good mentor does not trade for you. A good mentor teaches you and shows you the way to trade. So that's the process. It's that simple. It's taken me maybe 3-4 minutes to explain it to you. You can do this every Friday, a couple of minutes before the close, scan for it, and then decide if you want to hold on to or to position over the weekend, get in before anybody else does. Or you could scan over the weekend and say, okay, this is what I'm going to be doing Monday, okay? All right, so let's look at this old chart again. Remember, we looked at this FCX, Freeport McMillan. And we said, well, okay, we would have potentially captured a lot of money there, but how could we have done it? Well, once again, we would have simply scanned and seen that on this day right here, I should say this week, these are weekly bars, you would have seen the first yellow block. So if you made the decision to go long, you could have either purchased at the market, if you did that on Friday, maybe purchase on Monday, maybe place a lower limit, maybe wait for it to confirm to trade above that. It's up to you. There are a million and one ways in which to enter. And then you could have captured the fruits of this nice trade. See, that's why we're always looking to scan the first bar that closes in the yellow block, because if it is going to take off, if this is a really good setup, obviously this is where you want to get in, right? You want to get in right at the bottom. Okay, so we understand the process. Let's look at some recent examples. And remember, everything you're seeing today is displayed coming from the PTS Primo charting platform. We developed this to identify these big weekly moves in advance. All right, let's look at Apple. Here's a weekly chart of Apple a couple of months ago in March. All right. Obviously, someone looking at this would say, well, I mean, there's really no clear-cut design here. There's nothing, there's no earnings coming out that I'm interested in. There's nothing here that catches my eye. I'm only looking at 4 bars, so how can I get an idea on a weekly time frame? Remember, those are all things we've all been taught that take us out of the game. Earnings, what someone is saying about economic indicators, what some guy's saying in a chat room. What is the PTS-XT telling you? And it's only telling you what the market is speaking about. It's not based on anything other than market behavior, which is the only thing we should be listening to. So let's go through the process. Click on the PTS-XT Extreme Trend on our platform. Okay, click on Scan. And we would have seen that, yeah, this week, when it closed in March, that bar was colored or in a yellow block. So that's telling us that the tool is translating that this most likely is going to be the beginning of an extreme up move. Now, how could we be an extreme up move? There's nothing really happening, right? But that's how sensitive this tool is. And as we see, we could have bought if we decided to do so. Remember, our decision. And look what happens. 20 points coming into this last week. Okay? It's a nice little trade. And very once you bought it, it never went lower than where you would have purchased it had you purchased it on the close of that week. Here's another example. Let's look at Microsoft, a weekly chart. We're only looking at the last 2 bars here in March. These are weekly bars. Someone looking at this would say, well, wait a minute, how can I make a decision? You know, I don't know what the guy is telling me in the chat room. Don't worry about that. You have to cut the umbilical cord and trust in what the market is telling you. All right, so let's see what the PTS-XT is telling us. Click it on, click on Scan, and guess what? At the end of that week, it was in the first yellow block. So in other words, if this is going to take off, this is where you want to get in. Now, you can make your own analysis. You can use any one of the different techniques we tell you on how to enter. But either way, it's your decision. Let's say you decided to enter. Okay, so you're in this trade. 32 points coming into last week once again. Let's look at CDNS, all right? Cadence Design. Same thing happened here. This was in January, actually. Going back, these are weekly bars. Here's a yellow block around this bar. 40 points coming into last week. Now, a lot of students say, well, Steve, this is amazing. I love this, but what do I do once it gets out of the yellow block? As we see here, this bar, even though it didn't close down that low, had a large tail here, but it's still not really telling me that things are bad. What should I do? Well, remember, we teach you different ways. I'm not going to explain everything in detail, but in the course, we teach you different exit levels and different ways to protect yourself. But one of the most standard, and I'd say simple ways to apply this is to say, listen, I'm only going to be in this trade when price is in the yellow block. I'm never going to be in it when price is out of the yellow block, because basically the tool is telling us, well, the extreme trend has ended. We're not perceiving any more real big move to the upside. Here's a way to really see that a little more clearly. Here's a weekly chart of ROST. This is going back to last year, the end of last year, okay? And had you taken that trade, well, you had 30 points to work with in the next couple of months, all right? Now, at this point right here, last February, this bar closed outside. So if you want to use this simple way to trade, remember, this is just one of the different ways to exit. You would have said, okay, listen, I'm going to get out, take my profit. Maybe it's about 20 points, say thank you, and just get out. And look what happened. You see, this is why this tool is so popular, because it only puts that yellow block around where it says there's an extreme trend either going to take place or currently taking place. Once price is out of that block, it's basically telling you, well, the low-hanging fruit trend is over. And now we're kind of either going to go into whipsaw area or maybe even change trend altogether. All right, let's look at VRTX. Here's a weekly chart. This was in March, the end of March, coming into April, this past month. We have the one block around here. This week ended, and if you would have scanned, you would have seen there was a yellow block. If you decided to buy, guess what? 40 points in just a little over a month, okay? As we look at Meta, here's a weekly chart of Meta going back to January. Now, I had a big move up in this week. Most traders would say, well, I don't want to buy it now. It's had a big move. I'm going to wait for a little sell-off. That guy in that trading room tells me that it's going to come all the way back down, and then I should buy it there, okay? This is why most traders lose money, or this is why most traders miss trades, because you're relying on someone or something else that you really have no idea if they're consistent in their trading or not either. Remember, our job is to point the way. You have to make the decision. Think about, I mean, I don't personally play golf, but think about if you wanted to learn how to play golf, you were, or wanted to improve your golf game. Okay. Let's say you were going to be, you're invited to play in some type of, amateur tournament, and you wanted to just, improve your game a little bit. You'd hire a coach, right? You'd hire a coach so that you could take you to the next level and kind of improve your game and tighten things up again. But once you had to play in that tournament, you wouldn't call up that coach and say, hey, listen, can you play in the tournament for me? Can you just stand right next to me and tell me exactly what to do? No, because that's not the way golf should be. You have to play yourself, okay? The same way trading is. But for some reason, we're taught to do the opposite. We're taught to say, hey, I'm going to go to that chat room, and this guy must be right. He's supposed to be a great trader. I'll do whatever he says. Or, hey, I'm going to wait for the earnings. They're never wrong. If they're good, I'm going to buy. But you're taking yourself out of the game when you trade that way. Take it from someone who did that same exact process 46 years ago, and it didn't work. And as I always say, if it didn't work 46 years ago, there's absolutely no reason why it should start working now. This is, once again, one of the main reasons why 80 to 85% of all traders fail. You're taking yourself out of the game. Just look at something that has high probability, research it on your own, and then make your own decision if you want to take the trade. Now, here was once again a buy setup in Meta. It's your choice if you wanted to take it, but had you done that, well, guess what? 60 points coming into this week. Here's an example in ORLY, all right, O'Reilly Automotive. Same thing. Last month, the first week of the month, it generated a buy signal on a weekly time frame. Okay, your choice, whatever you wanted to do. But look what happened. For just 5 weeks, in 5 weeks, it potentially could have given you 100% gain, depending on how long you held it. That's how simple this process is. We never had to look at earnings. We never looked at what was going on economically, didn't care. We never cared about what was going on with the world and wars and all the different things. It doesn't matter. It's everything you need to know is in the chart in front of you. That's really all you need to focus on. If the market is telling you it wants to go higher, our job as a trader is not to try and predict what it's going to do, not to try and second guess it. It's just simply to jump on board. That's how you become a consistent trader. All right, let's go through the process one last time, okay? We're looking at NVDA on a weekly time frame. Once again, this is the chart we looked at in the beginning. How did we get in at the very bottom of that trade? Well, we go through the process. Let's say we're looking at this at the end of the week. This was in January. We're looking at this process here. These are weekly bars. It's been going up for 3 weeks. And that guy in the trading room says you got to short it because it's gone up too much and it's probably going to settle back down. Or let's say you were long already. It's time to exit this trade because you want to take your profits because it's tremendously overbought according to their proprietary indicator, okay? This is the way we're all used to trading, right? What is the market telling us? Well, the first thing we want to do is scan. So we click on PTS-XT trend. In the drop-down menu, click on scan. And guess what? It's generating a buy signal. And you say, like, how can I do that? I mean, this guy who's supposed to be so good is telling me to get out. It's too high and to take my profit. Well, remember, you should make your decision. Now, if you feel it's too high and you don't feel comfortable, then don't take this buy signal. But ultimately, you have to decide. You shouldn't let anyone or anything decide for you. So this is just being provided for you as some type of source to make a decision. Let's say you had become a student of this and you've seen how powerful it is. You say to yourself, wow, this works pretty well. So I'm going to buy here, or I'm going to buy some more, or I'm not selling. And look what happened. Coming into last week, stock was up 110 points. Now, we're not saying you would have made 110 points or any of these examples, but that's how much you had to work with. All right. You could have gone in this trade and taken a quick 10-point gain and said, thank you. Or maybe you've made 50 points. Okay. Either way, this got you in at the bottom before that big run. Now, a lot of traders say, well, hey, this is great, Steve. Can this work for sell orders on the downside? Yeah, there's two ways you can apply it if we're looking at weekly bars. Let's say you're already in a position, okay, and you're starting to have second doubts about it. And you're saying, well, listen, I'd rather let the market tell me if I should hold on to this position. For example, we're looking at a weekly chart of IBM. Let's say you've got a pretty good profit, but the stock, as we see here on a weekly time frame, is starting to come down a little bit. So you're starting to say, wow, I'm losing some of my profits here. I've already lost like maybe 5 points or so. What should I do? Well, you can use the PTS-XT as a sell indicator, all right? So you can say, hey, listen, if this is telling me that most likely there's going to be a strong move to the downside, maybe I want to just get out. So you could have sold right here, sold your position, and saved yourself a good 10 points. Now, if you're a more aggressive trader, sure, you can use it the same way to go short. For example, if we look at PayPal, here's a weekly chart. Sure, it's been coming down lower. Most traders would say, hey, this is in a downtrend. We want to look to buy this. It's come down a lot. It's time to start buying this at these lower levels. But according to the PTS-XT, this is the beginning. It hasn't even started yet. This is the beginning of a real strong extreme move to the downside. So if you're more inclined to go short, you could have shorted the stock or bought puts, whatever you wanted to do, and decided to sell. Once again, your decision, and taking advantage of 160 points to the downside. So yes, to answer your question, you can see this to the downside and apply it as well. Now you can also use it on other markets. Now, even though we're mainly focusing on stocks, here is a chart of currency pairs. All right, here's a monthly chart of the dollar yen. Now, obviously, once again, in hindsight, you should have been long this, right? These are monthly bars. Each and every one of these bars equals a month. So we can go out to a different time frame as well. But had we applied the PTS-XT, well, guess what? Right back here, this was the first monthly bar that was circled in, or I should say blocked out in yellow. So we knew well in advance, and had we held on this entire time, we could have potentially captured 4,000 pips. This is just tens of thousands of dollars potentially you could have made just using this, not relying on any outside information that we've all been taught to look at, but simply just listening and trusting what the market is telling us. Or we could go to a weekly chart of gold. Here is the spot gold. And once again, this is an older chart, but going back to last year, we know gold has been going up now, but this had a strong move to the downside. And all of our students who use this were warned of this. And look at, you could have potentially captured 200 basis points to the downside in gold before it started to go up. Okay, let's review what we taught you today. Remember, in order to capture these large gains, you must go through this simple three-step process. The first thing is you want to conduct a weekly PTS-XT scan. This is either on or at the close of the last day of the trading week. Now, if it's a 3-day week, it'll be on Thursday, or else you could do it on Friday if it's a regular week, all right? Now, once you get the scan, which will literally take you a minute, probably at the most, then you want to select stocks with a bar count of 1. This means that they have been only in the yellow extreme uptrend block for 1 week. And that means if it is going to take off, remember there's no guarantees, but there's a high probability it is. If it's going to take off, that's the bar obviously you want to get in on, right? The very first one. And then lastly, trade, which is another way of saying you make your own decision. As a mentor, as a trading company, we are providing you with these high probability setups. But ultimately, our job is to make you a consistent trader. And the only way to do that is by providing you with sound fundamental things that have stood the test of time, and then you making your own decision as to whether you want to take the trade or not. Remember, today's theme, if you want to catch really big gains, then you have to trade higher time frames. And you can apply the same process on a 5-minute time frame, on a daily, or on an hourly. But if you want to get those big gains, as you just saw, 60, 70, 100 point probabilities, then you have to go to a weekly or even monthly time frame. Okay, as we come to the conclusion, I want you to ask yourself a question before you ask me questions. Do you think this indicator, the PTS-XT, can help your trading for the remainder of 2023? I think after you just saw these examples that were current examples, your answer is yes. So because of that, we have a great special offer for all of you attending today. This is our Express Lane special, because trading with the PTS-XT really puts you in the express lane. The express lane is that extreme uptrend or that extreme downtrend. It's the low-hanging fruit. It's where you want to be. It's when the market you're trading is really moving. That's where it's the simplest and the easiest way to be consistent. So this generates these high probability zones. You can apply them to any market, to any time frame, and you can actually trade with your current strategy. A lot of our students say, listen, Steve, I love the different methods and techniques you taught in the course, but you know what? Whenever I see a stock or a market in a yellow buy block, I just wait for my strategy to generate signals because I know they'll have a higher level of consistency. Or if I see it's a red downward block, then I wait for my strategy to generate sell signals. It's that simple, okay? You can actually build your own strategy if you like. We have many students around the world who've actually built their strategy using the PTS-XT. It really gives you the confidence to pull the trigger. And if you're a day trader like myself, you can also apply it to day trade. And remember, everything you saw today was displayed on our platform. The PTS-XT special extreme trend indicator can only be applied by using that scan, the process on our platform. So because of this, we're throwing in an extra bonus. New customers will receive 12 months free of the platform. That's going to be included in the price. It's also, going to be absolutely free. So if you don't have our platform yet, you're a new customer, you will get a full year of the platform free. Now, a lot of people will say, well, I already have a platform that I use for trading, Steve. I really don't need an extra one. And, I have also a platform for trading myself, but I do all my analysis and research every day. I'm looking at the PTS-XT and then transferring over onto what I'm trading, okay? Now, on top of that, there are a host of different things included on the platform that you won't find anywhere else, and that will also be yours free for 12 months. Not only will you get one-click access to the PTS-XT indicator, but you'll get our enhanced buy-sell line. These are 4 different ways to identify the overall trend of any market, any time frame. You get a strength of trend tool. This is a great tool, especially to apply with the PTS-XT, because it will tell you with almost pinpoint accuracy when and if a market, regardless of time frame, is running out of steam in the trend. So this could help you with your exits, okay? You get auto-generated exit levels. So we have many exits, and one of them we will auto-generate on the screen, on the platform itself. So you just be able to know exactly where these exit levels are. Over 90 of the most prominent technical indicators. So if you like to tinker under the hood, you can apply them to your trading. And this all comes with personalized tech support. So if you ever have any questions, if something doesn't make sense, isn't working properly, you can always contact our tech support, and they will be there to answer any questions or any issues you may have. And remember, there's a host I can't list here of different things that I've accumulated in my 46 years that you won't find anywhere else except on the PTS Primo charting platform. Now, here's, once again, what we talked about, the signal scanner. Now, a lot of people say, well, yeah, Steve, this is great, but you know what? I always seem to get killed and lose a lot of money when news events comes out because, I'm always on the wrong side. Well, we're not in any way guaranteeing you that this will guarantee to put you on the right side of the news events, but it's been my experience that when you are trading based off market behavior, based off what the market's telling you, not based off what your estimation of the earnings are going to be, not based off what some economic indicator is saying, not based off what some guy in a chat room is saying, but based off the chart in front of you. Many times, your signals are on the right side of the market ahead of the news. So let me share with you a quick example of this, okay? When you're talking, a lot of students are worried about news. This happened just about a couple of months ago. This was March 13th. SGEN stock rockets on a $43 billion takeover. SGEN today announced that it has entered into a definitive merger agreement under which it will be acquired by Pfizer. Seagen's stock surged 15% on the announcement to close at $197.65. So once again, this is what all traders are frightened of. They're frightened of being on the wrong side of a news announcement or else not taking advantage of something and then the announcement coming and it's too late. So if we look at the chart in SGEN, we see here that this is where the news came out, okay? Let's say you were interested in this stock, but you kind of forgot about it. Maybe you went away on vacation or didn't look at it. You got involved in something else. The news comes out and you say, oh boy, I was interested in this and I missed it, okay? And then weeks later, we see that, it's too late because the merger is in process and the stock is just kind of hovering around these prices. Could the PTS-XT have helped us? Well, if we simply applied the scan, we would have seen using this with the scan that the first bar, the weekly bar in the block, were weeks in advancement of that news. All right. So we knew that this week in February, well before the news came out, you had a choice whether you wanted to buy this or not. This is the beauty of the PTS-XT. It's so sensitive. It knows things because based on market behavior that oftentimes are before an announcement came out. So had you taken that signal using the PTS-XT, you could have potentially captured 40 points in just 3 weeks in advance of that announcement. And this just happened a couple of months ago. So take your trading to the next level with the original PTS-XT Extreme Trend Indicator. We're happy to say, I know a lot of people wouldn't feel the same way Pro Trader Strategies and myself feel, but we're happy to say that if you look on the internet or different websites, we are being copied tremendously all over the internet and different websites after this, because it is a tremendously popular tool. And after we saw that so many other websites or so-called educators have tried to copy this and tried to, do the exact same thing, but they're not getting the same result. The secret is in not being able to copy it, but in knowing how to trade with it. And we go over numerous ways in which to apply it in the course. So take your trading to the next level. Use the original PTS-XT from the person and the company that actually developed it and initiated it. Okay, so here's how to take advantage of this great offer. Remember, you're going to be getting a full year of the PTS-XT, or I should say the PTS Primo charts included with this price. Now, normally, if we broke it down, this Extreme Trend special offer, if you just purchased this without the discount we have today, it would cost you just close to $5,000. And that's just for the PTS-XT Extreme Trend tool. But here's what we're going to do today. We're taking the time out of your Wednesday. We're going to give you a great offer. One-time payment of $497. Can you imagine that? From $49.95 down to a one-time payment of $497, and then simply establish a payment plan of $97 per month. That's it. You can be up and running as early as today with less than $500 down. Now, if you want to pay in full, you're still going to get a discount. We'll discount it 10% down to $44.95. You're going to save $500. Okay? That's for people that say, listen, I don't need to establish a payment plan. I'm ready to start trading this. I don't want a monthly payment. I'm ready to go, $44.95, okay? And that still includes a full year free of the platform. So we have two options. You can either pay in full and get a 10% discount, or have a one-time payment of less than $500 for $97 a month. Two great options, and new customers, regardless of which way you decide to go, receive a one-year free platform. Okay, here's how to take advantage of this. Contact Pro Trader Strategies, my sister site. They developed the platform with me and the PTS-XT indicator. I would highly recommend giving them a call at 310-598-6677. They can answer any question about data, tech support, pricing. They can actually take your order over the phone if you're ready to become a student of mine. Now, that link you see right here at the bottom is the link that will take you to the info page. Now, it's not a live link. You'd have to copy and paste that onto your browser. But if you go to the chat box on the, if you look in the column there, the little icon that says chat, you click that on and you'll see a link that's been posted there. All you have to do is click that on and it will open up a browser automatically, and that will be the info page, okay? So let's leave this up here. You can copy down the phone number or copy down the link if you'd like. And if you have any questions, I told you I would reserve the last portion for any one that has a question about what I went over today or anything you wanted to ask me, okay? Okay, as I look here, let me see. I see I have one question. Someone is asking me, can this work on different time frames? Yes, it can. Remember, I told you I normally use this intraday because I am an intraday trader per se, but when I want to apply this for longer time frames, this is what I mainly use. Now, during my intraday trading, I use different things like strategy number 4, strategy number 9, as well as this. But when I'm trading with a higher time frame, it's pretty much this is what I'm looking at, the PTS-XT. So yes, the multiple time frames. And someone is saying, how about multiple markets? Yes, I showed you an example of the weekly, I believe, dollar yen and the monthly dollar yen and the weekly gold futures. But remember, if you want to look at a 5-minute chart of the Canadian dollar, or if you'd like to look at a daily chart, of gold or a daily chart of Bitcoin, sure, you can apply this to any market, any time frame. Makes no difference. Okay, wherever it deems that there's going to be a strong trend, it will paint a either yellow block around that bar if it's an uptrend, or a red block if it's a downtrend. Okay. Someone's asking me, yeah, same question. Yes. Also, someone's saying, how do I sign up? Well, remember, the easiest way to sign up, in my opinion, is to contact Pro Trader Strategies on the phone. Just give them a call at area code 310-598-6677. They have trading consultants manning the phones right now. They'd be more than happy to either take your order over the phone or to answer any questions that you may have concerning tech support and data and things of that nature. The way our companies work, we've kind of split them off into two different sections. Anything regarding trading or teaching comes directly to me. Those questions go directly to me. Anything regarding tech support, data, videos, goes directly to Pro Trader Strategies. That way, your questions will be answered quickly, and they'll go to the right department. So someone's asking they would email me for questions. Yes. So if you become a student of mine, you get my personal email address, and anytime you had a question, anytime you wanted me to check your work, you would simply email me. It wouldn't go to Pro Trader Strategies, it would go to me. Now, conversely, if you said, hey, listen, I wanted to watch this video here, I heard there was another video on the PTS-XT, well, that's more of a tech support question that would go to your trading consultant at Pro Trader Strategies. That way, your questions are answered a lot quicker and a lot easier, and you'll get your issues resolved right away, okay? Okay, good questions. Remember, this is a really deeply discounted special, going from nearly $5,000 down to a one-time payment of less than $500 and just establishing a monthly payment of less than $100. And you've seen just a couple of examples right now. These are just examples I shared with you on weekly charts. Think of all the winning setups there are on daily charts, different markets. It really is a powerful, but most, I would say, popular trading tool among our students because of its simplicity. So come on board, take advantage of this great offer before it goes back up to close to $5,000, okay? As we close now and take one last look at our disclaimer, thank you so much for taking time out of your Wednesday to join us today. I hope you learned how simple it is to capture those large gains by using the PTS-XT, but most especially, I really would love to see you in the class. So please contact Pro Trader Strategies for any questions, and I wish you all the best of luck. Thank you so much for attending. I shall see you next time. Bye-bye.